This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. The history the government hopes you never learn. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Monday, November 25th, 2019. This is going to be Thanksgiving week, obviously. Thanksgiving is Thursday. For some people, it's Friday as well here. And if you're planning on doing a lot of traveling, you want to keep an eye on the weather because there are no less than 3 major storms that are going to make the highways just slick, snow, ice. And so give yourself extra time so that you can drive slowly and carefully. And, and just be safe. Just be safe. Okay, we've got lots to talk about today. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. And interesting little story here mentioning about this, and this is from Investment Watch blog. The solar minimum madness is Thanksgiving's winter wonderland, a preview of the bitterly cold winter to come. And I would say that, yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And so we need to, get the warm clothes out and stop listening to all those global warming people out there. Just open your eyes, look out the window, and take a look at what's really going on out there in terms of nature. All right, let's talk about some of the international news. And there we are. Over in Israel, they're talking about Israel, Palestine, and the politics of race, and how Israel has succeeded in normalizing itself as a Jewish state, absent Palestinian experience, history, and identity claims. And they've been very successful at it. Because were it any other country, like, for example, if you're old enough to remember South Africa, you would realize that, Israel gets away with being an apartheid state. There's no obstruction from the international community, and of course now you've got Donald Trump out there saying, "Well, those settlements there, they're not really illegal under international law," which of course they are. Now, do you remember WeWork? Well, apparently the WeWork founder and former CEO Adam Neumann worked with Jared Kushner on the so-called deal of the century. So he's now tangled up in that whole mess. And let's go back up to the top here. So he's this disgraced Israeli businessman, but he's still plugged into the White House, still trying to get this deal run through, which basically is Israel gets everything it wants and the Palestinians do not. And apparently this gentleman, Adam Neumann, received literally billions of dollars in backing from Saudi investment funds. And he's admitted to working with Donald Trump's son-in-law and senior advisor, Jared Kushner, to draft the controversial peace plan commonly known as the deal of the century. Now, this surprising revelation was revealed in a Vanity Fair article on the rise and catastrophic downfall of Adam Neumann. Boy, have you noticed how much money these guys seem to go through? Anyway, Netanyahu is out there. He's banging the war drums for war with Iran, and apparently he sees it as his get out of jail card because he has, as long as he maintains his position as head of state, he enjoys a certain immunity. But the instant he's no longer prime minister, he's headed for court. And a lot of people are thinking that it needs to be time for him to do that. Article that came out of Aletho News saying that he's been charged with his corruption crimes. He lacks a mandate to govern because of the way the elections turned out. So his days are definitely numbered. Now, Netanyahu was out there and he's trying to out-Trump Donald Trump by saying it's a coup. It's a coup within the government to get rid of me. And senior Likud lawmaker Gideon Saar basically said, you're not facing a coup. Likud and Israel need new leadership. Now, Netanyahu was out there with his tweet saying, we've got to have war with Iran. Iran's going to attack, or we're going to attack Iran. And apparently it came across so bad, he deleted his tweet, especially because the United States is looking at the entire Mideast as a target now. All right, we're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining the network, and we're going to take a phone call. James in South Carolina, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
I wanted to say something about something on another a podcast. There's a thing called USA Watchdog with Greg Hunter.
Yes.
And he has a guy on there talking about $21 trillion that no one can find.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's name is Mark Skidmore.
Yes.
And he's a professor at the University of Michigan. And he heard someone talking about all this several years ago and didn't believe it. So he got his grad students together, and they looked into it, and he's concluded it's true. Everybody ought to watch this. This is amazing stuff. And also, I want to talk to you a second. If this is true, and it seems to be, I don't know where all this money is going. How could you spend $21 trillion?
Well, you could spend it on
you
Israel.
Have any idea of what might be going on?
The war machine. You could put it in your own pocket. I mean, what we're getting now, looking at what's coming out of Iraq and Ukraine relative to the Bidens, is that there is unparalleled corruption taking place inside the U.S. government. And anytime you have that degree of corruption, money starts vanishing.
Well, it's just amazing to me that, I mean, this guy says that he's contacted, the government. The government said they can't deal with it because it's national security.
Yeah.
This just is the most amazing thing.
Yes.
It struck me that it's possible that this money is being taken and used to fund places like CNN or other places that are antithetical to the country, and being used to bring the country down.
Well, I don't know about bringing the country down, but they're definitely working toward a transformation.
Well, but I mean, I wish you'd listen to it, and I wish you'd comment on it, and I'd like for everybody to know about it. I can't imagine. I mean, it's also struck me that maybe there is something going on, some force, some powerful algorithm, or some powerful concept that allows these people to do that. Everybody that says this, including this guy Skidmore, says he does not understand why we have not gone bankrupt in the last 10 years. I don't understand it either. I don't think anybody understands it. Yet,
I think if you go back to, I'm trying to remember the name of that member of Congress. They railroaded him into prison, but he said, we were already bankrupt. And it doesn't look like it because the Federal Reserve can just print up new money as quickly as they want. But that instant money is applied to the national debt, and that's where that 21 trillion, I heard 23 trillion, by the way, that's where that figure is coming from. And what the American taxpayer has to understand is there is no amount of work that you can do, there is no amount of sacrifice that you can do that's going to make up that money. It is gone forever, and you and your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren will be on the hook for it.
Well, one wonders if there's not some other kind of currency, something that there's a quid pro quo going on somehow or another, like lithium from someplace. God knows what. I don't know. But some kind of something that substitutes for money that's behind all this. I mean, it seems to me it's possible.
First of all,
I have no idea. But
U.S. currency is not really money. It's basically it's a debt instrument. If you want to talk money that has intrinsic value, like you said, lithium or gold or silver or something that has intrinsic value. The U.S. dollar has no intrinsic value whatsoever.
Well, I just wonder what it is. Like I said, everybody needs to look at this, and I'd like you to look at it and comment on it. Hey, I like your show, Michael. You do a good job. Thank you.
All right, thanks an awful lot here. Getting on back to the news here. So you've got Netanyahu is out there threatening war with Iran just to keep his job. And that says a lot about Netanyahu, that he's willing to kill not only a whole bunch of Iranians, but even a bunch of Israelis, not to mention Americans, to hang on to his job and stay out of the courtroom. That's the kind of individual he is. Now, a lot of people are hoping that Trump needs to understand getting into a war with Iran would be a bad thing, with a capital bad. And we have to look back and remember 16 years ago, the Bush administration lied to us all to scare the public into backing an aggressive war against Iraq. Now, the Trump administration appears to be following the same well-worn path. The president is fixated on Iran, tearing up the nuclear accord with Tehran, declaring economic war on it, which apparently is intended to get the people of Iran to overthrow their leadership. And he's pushing America towards war, even as he insists that he wants peace. Now, are you really that stupid where you don't see the disconnect between what is coming out of Donald Trump's mouth and what this nation is doing militarily? So there's going to be thousands of dead Americans, tens of thousands of wounded and maimed U.S. personnel, hundreds of thousands of dead Iraqis, millions of Iraqis displaced. And we'll see a repeat of the whole thing in Iran. Okay, apparently Israeli settlers attacked 5 villages in the occupied West Bank overnight, setting fire to vehicles and olive trees and leaving graffiti on the walls of homes. Now, Ghassan Douglas, a spokesman for the Nablus Governorate, says the Jewish settlers set fire to 5 cars and spray-painted graffiti on more than 20 others. Villagers circulated photos of the damage on social media. Now, Israel has occupied the West Bank illegally since 1967 and commits constant abuses against the Palestinian civilians, according to human rights groups. Right now, more than 600,000 Israeli Jews live in these settlements in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem in constructions considered illegal under international law. And no, Donald Trump, I don't think you have the authority to overturn that. I wouldn't listen to you anyway if you did. Meanwhile, CENTCOM Commander General Kenneth McKenzie is saying that he's expecting Iran to attack. Now, that would be a very dumb thing for Iran to do, but here you've got an upcoming holiday weekend, highly symbolic to the American people. You've got Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So we could easily see a false flag attack. Oh, look what Iran has done to us. But again, why would Iran initiate hostilities? They have spent the last 30 years trying to avoid a war. So now Mike Pence has caused a bit of a stir because he visited Iraq to send messages of reassurance to the Kurds, but he didn't bother checking in with the Iraqi government in Baghdad. And so the Iraq leaders are a little bit upset, but that's not protocol. So I don't know what's going on over there. It may well be that the government in Iraq is starting to pull at the leash to the United States. Alrighty, France has announced that a proposed European-led mission to patrol the Persian Gulf will be based out of a recently established French naval base in Abu Dhabi, and that the naval patrol will soon go operational amid heightened tensions between Tehran and Washington. So everybody's arming on up, and they've basically formalized the command post will be on Emirate territory. So everybody's getting ready. The wars are going to go on. The wars are going to escalate. And your kids could easily wind up being on the front lines. Now, they haven't initiated a draft yet, but remember, all young people are required to register for the draft. So the database is already built. Their name is already in it. All it's going to take is a declaration of war by Congress or by the president to say, well, round them all up, put them in uniforms, and send them off to stop the bullets. Apparently, hundreds of Israeli settlers have stormed the Ibrahim Mosque in the city of Hebron in the occupied West Bank after the Israeli army closed off the mosque to the Palestinians. Settlers also attacked the Palestinians in Hebron, injuring at least 8 people. The settlers performed a Jewish religious ritual in the mosque to celebrate the Shiva Sarah holiday. And dozens of Israeli troops deployed in the alleys basically were there to keep the Palestinians out. Netanyahu was really pushing hard. He wants a new intifada. Okay, according to the Palestinian News and Info Agency, 50 Palestinian vehicles were vandalized in the latest series of Israeli settler attacks in the West Bank district of Salfit. And apparently the settlers snuck into the village, slashed the tires, and scrawled anti-Palestinian hate graffiti on several vehicles in the walls of the house. Okay, we're going to grab ourselves a phone call. Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What's Netanyahu's wife going to do when Netanyahu goes to jail? She ain't going to have enough money to buy all that ice cream she used to buy. But she used to buy $10,000 a year in ice cream, wasn't it? Something like that?
Something like that, but I mean, she's got her own legal problems to deal with.
It's amazing, like with Trump, like why would you do that with the seller? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I keep telling people who call in that still support Trump, he's just another side of the coin. People are fighting him on one side, but he's another side of a coin that's not in alignment with the other side of the coin, but it doesn't make him the good guy.
No.
You know? Why would you do that? You know, Mike, with all the things like he said he was going to do, where the hell's the peace treaty of this century? There's nothing.
Well, the Palestinians are never going to go for it. It's a completely one-sided deal.
Oh, yeah, here's the peace treaty. You got to move out so we can move in.
Good summary. That's a very good summary.
Kind of like with the American Indians.
Yeah.
Or the indigenous of Australia, right?
Yep.
Like that just throw them, they roll them off a cliff, right? That's it. You know, push them off a cliff, or that's it. That's your. Isn't that like democracy?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. You know, I'm like look at what's going on in Bolivia. You know, like the indigenous people, they're getting treated like crap now. You know, and Morales is going to be coming back because South America always has this like flip-flop type of a thing going on, you know. But like, I think people are catching on now, you know. But I mean, hold on. I hear the music.
Oh yeah, I hear the music now. Yeah, just stay on the line. We're going to put you on hold. We'll be right back.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here. And we're talking with Dustin in New Jersey. And Dustin, yeah, I mean, this country is headed in a horrible direction.
It is. And you know what, Mike? What I realized, and I said this a while ago, like, I voted for Trump. We all voted. We all thought things was going to change, but they haven't.
Nope.
And then you look, remember when Trump launched those cruise missiles in the sea? They were all cheering for him. MSNBC, remember? He's the president now. So, like I said, like if then he doesn't do something, they don't like him. But if he launched more missiles, they'll cheer for him again. It's all a game. What's in it for us, though, Mike, in the end? Nothing. Zilch, Zippo. We haven't benefited from squat. They send you off to die. That's what you'll benefit from. You'll get rolled into Walmart, in a wheelchair. That's the benefit you get. You lose your legs for these people. If you watch this clown show with the impeachment, it's a show. It's nothing that matters to anybody. That's why they had such low ratings. I think CBS even pulled away from the because it's crap.
Yeah, nobody's watching
it.
Nobody's watching it. I mean, people are sick and tired of this nonsense.
But Mike, what I'm saying is, though, that doesn't mean Trump is like on our side. He's
No.
just another side of the coin, because if he was, he wouldn't have put, like, I keep going back, he wouldn't have put in the people he did. And they're still there, minus John Bolton, but those people are still there, and he hasn't replaced them with anybody outside of the Beltway.
Well,
And
did you notice the impeachment really started to crank up when Trump refused to launch an attack on Iran following the shoot down of the drones?
Well, you know what would happen if it'd go wrong and they'll blame Trump, but if it went okay, they'll cheer for Trump. So it's a game they all play, like that. They benefit from a good outcome or a bad outcome. If there's a good outcome, they benefit because they say, see, Iran's evil. But if there's a bad outcome, Trump shouldn't have launched the war. That's what they'll say. So you see how they work?
Yes.
It's a big scam. I mean, this is the kind of people, though, that are, what, Mike, it blows my mind how many people will sell out for nothing. I'm not talking just the amount of talking heads. They're all over the place. Plus the State Department and the CIA. And, where do you turn? Like, you can't turn your back on any of these people. Even I don't know, man. Like, I look, I'm just like, they're everywhere. The shills.
Yes.
Look at what the Ukraine thing with Biden. It's just, and then on the impeachment, the Fiona Hill, and that, what was the guy who said he overheard the conversation? The guy was talking on a cell phone. Trump was, and they tried to reenact it on CNN. It didn't go over so well.
No, it didn't.
But you see what it's just a fraud. But I keep saying at the end of the day, it doesn't mean Trump's going to help us. Like, I remember their cheerleader for Bush. Oh, Bush was the second coming of Jesus. He parted the Red Sea. Did he? It pisses me off because I really had faith in Trump. I was like hoping this dude would do something. And with all the stuff going on with the impeachment, we know it's a fraud. But then, he has these people around him.
Yes.
And he still has the people around him, Mike, and it's almost December. What do you think's going to happen in the next election? Do you think anything, once he gets in the next term, what's going to change? Do you think anything's going to be fixed?
I don't think he's going to win in a second term. And I think there are forces within the government that are going to do anything to keep him from having a second term, because in a second term, Trump could be Trump. Wouldn't owe anybody anything. He wouldn't be worrying about re-election, and he could just go on out there and say, these next 4 years, we're going to start actually doing something. Maybe I'm just being unrealistically optimistic here. But at this point, it's very obvious that the bureaucracy, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, absolutely do not want Trump to win a second term in office. And it could be coming all the way down from Hillary Clinton. She may be waiting to see what happens with this impeachment. And if it fizzles out, which it appears to be doing, that'll be the end of it. If they succeed in finding a way of removing Trump from office, Hillary's going to step on in.
And we're still in the same or worse situation we were. And Mike, isn't Mike Pompeo and Nikki Haley also like part of that establishment, but in different section?
Oh yeah, they would not be allowed. They would not be allowed into the higher levels of the government unless they proved that they were definitely part of the clique, part of the group.
Yeah. And Mike, I'll leave you with your listeners with this, because I know some of your listeners don't like me when I mention bad stuff, bad Trump. His wife thought he knew him a couple times, and how'd that work out for her? Mike, have a good show.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We got to take another break for commercials, and we'll be right back with another phone call.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, keep it today.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. September 2018. Extendivite works in keeping my blood pressure in the normal range. I've been using Extendivite for many years now. May 2018. Great product. I use regularly and I rarely get sick. March 2018. This product has relieved what appeared to be angina pain in my chest and shortness of breath after climbing stairs. I'm quite happy about it. February 2018. My husband, son, and I have been using this product for a few months now, and we have noticed an improvement in our joints and blood pressure. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds, up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more, plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the seven seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And we are going to go back to the phones to Murr in Wisconsin. Aloha, Murr. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Oh, good afternoon. Nice to hear your cheerful voice back, and hope you're feeling pretty good.
Oh, well, I'm feeling a lot better.
Good. You know, we have this Republic Broadcasting Network platform and your wonderful forum here. We don't have to bat back and forth between whatever the media says stepdaddy's bad or good today. We don't need to do that. We know who's doing it. It's the money monsters. They're also the media monsters. Let them fall flat broke. All of it. Netflix, movies, musical, just let them fall flat broke. And do your research and then share it with others right here with you, which is what I'm going to do. It was James Traficant of Ohio.
Yes, that was
of the tractor, quote unquote, accident. And there was one man there, and his name is in some of these things I'll send you. And it's interesting that he had similar name to Tompkins, who had come out the same time in 2014 about the vaccines. Isn't that interesting? There's always these coinkydinks all the time.
Yes.
But you have to remember, and True News is covering it now, and I came across an article from just Memorial Day this year, True News, talking about Israel's targeting of congressmen, including Cynthia McKinney and James Traficant.
Yes.
And just now they put out a very good video, and here again on RBN last night on Robert Rayvote show, he devoted most of the time from his show to playing this True News episode, and it's entitled. Let me see. Let me find it real quick here. I'll send it to you, but it's a Jew coup is what it is. And our own, there again, RBN, Patrick Slattery came up with the term long ago, Jew d'etat. And we're being able to say that word, and we have to. It's not just Israelites and all this other stuff. Oh, here it is, True News. And they broadcast it from their own site because I'm sure YouTube will take it down when they get tired of getting some attention for it. Jew coup, seditious Jews orchestrating Trump impeachment lynching. And then beyond that, I'm going to send you another link about, we know about Skidmore. I know it's great that people are coming upon these things now, but Catherine Austin Fitts brought that forth through Greg as well at the USA Watchdog and other places. But I was just amazed about this 21 trillion, but that turns out to be a drop in the bucket. Just one little bit from one little place in the Pentagon. But I have it's White Hats Report number 58, episode 1, Follow the Money. Now, they're up to 66 episodes, but they went back and saved this one, put together all different episodes, and it shows you how it's worldwide. It's not just this country. We're not going to fix this time by just the Federal Reserve. They're in the IMF and the World Bank and the Bank of Settlements in Switzerland. The whole system has to be changed, and we're doing that. We're pulling it down. And they're feverishly trying to pull it down, crash it, and bring us under more control, the Noahide laws. That's what all these staged events are about, is to show that we can't govern ourselves, that we have to be under the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem, governed by these 7 Noahide laws. So anytime you see anything coming up like Ole Damagard has done, and they even call it Damagarding now, you see a live shooter drill, usually they'll only give maybe 2 or 3 days notice locally. Okay, right after the Sutherland Springs one in Texas, there was a clue, and they took care of the people that were, blowing the whistle on that. That Side Thorn, he called himself, and Granny Conspiracy Granny, I think her name was. But it led to the next one was going to be in Dallas, the Majestic Theater. There were 3,000 people involved in that, and you didn't hear about it because it didn't get past the drill stage. See, the advertisement is a live drill, and then you got to sign a disclaimer. You want to get paid for wearing this moulage, and acting the part and even getting to play dead? Well, you'll have to keep quiet. And then they hit the jackpot if they go live and pretend it was real. And this is just so amoral. It goes right along with all what they're doing with the children. I mean, Prince Andrew is just a minor part of that, unfortunately. And it's part of bringing down them, too. And you got to remember, Duchess Sarah, she still lives there. She travels widely. She burns up some capital there out of the palace coffers, I'm sure. But like I said, it's bad about that, young girls and what he's involved with. But they actually, there's one, you heard about Jen Moore, right, being killed some time ago, right? Well, they had interviewed this young fellow who had been many times taken by not just Clinton, but his great uncles, it turns out. And they take these children on a yacht and they slice them at the bottom of their feet and drink the blood from it. They do all kind of horrendous sexual things, but they keep some of them alive and keep doing this over and over, and even come in and kidnap them from their homes because they have no family, so it's unbelievable. So to talk about the 21 trillion and whether Trump's a good stepdaddy this week or not, you have to remember those missiles were old junk missiles. That airport there in Syria, it didn't hurt anything. That was to cover. At the same time, the rabbis had agreed with Amazon to take down all these research books about the Holocaust. And Trump had sent in 12 FBI members to Israel and busted Michael Ron David Kadar and his father. And this is their real network that they don't want you to know about. They just call them, mentally ill. We had Joshua Ryan Goldberg, RYNE, in 2015. And they swept that under the rug. And he had at least 9 personas. He was involved in that Garfield, Texas thing with the, the FBI and Pam Geller and Gert Wilder. And, he posed as Australian witness. And, of course, he wasn't. He was there in his Jacksonville parents' home. and they know about it. They're working with autistic children, helping build that army. Okay, this is going to be the next wave. We have proxy armies. We had the blacks that are now waking up to the trinary game system, that there's an overlord, another race above us all that runs the money junkies, the money monsters, and they pit every ethnic group against the other. And this is worldwide. Henry Ford told us 100 years ago. The International Jew, John Statmiller, is very keen on that and has a very good, there again, Republic Broadcasting people support this network. He has I think it's a 4-day or maybe 6-day episode about Zionism, and it's back on the front page again. You can go and look that up for yourselves. So people get educated. We're being snuffed by these snuffers in the media. Let their media fall flat broke. We can bring this down on our terms, not a Russian collapse. We can bring it down on our terms. And as far as the Russian collapse goes, you have to remember about Lee, or Leo, he's called both, Emil Wanta.
Yes.
And that man had photographic memory, and that money was never, he's kept it. They've been after him ever since, but he really, and cohorts really in China, working in the banks, brought down Russia. That's how that economy came down. Okay, so I guess I've said about enough for one day, but I'll send you those links.
Okay, thanks for the links here, and thanks for the kind words about RBN, especially that part about supporting us, because we do need the help. We have to be very, very careful that we don't mix up what's going on in the world with some more fantastical claims that can be used to say, oh, well, this is all ridiculous. And, part of the art of being a rabble rouser is knowing what the rabble is ready to listen to and what they're not ready to listen to.
Mike, can you still hear me?
Yes, you're on the air.
Yes. Well, we can't really think for anyone except ourselves and to change. And you really need to ask the Holy Spirit for guidance in what you should say and do. It really does help. And of course, you won't be liked for it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be said and people don't need to know. Like I said, we keep repeating this pablum that comes off of their medium. We need to speak the truth. We need to show people where to go and look and find for themselves. Who's going to consider us? See, that's the thing. Anytime you want to question yourself about, and that's bad too, question yourself, all you can hear in the back of your head is, someone might think. Well, stop right there. Isn't that a shame if someone might think? They want to say, they might think you're crazy. Well, guess what? They might be crazy if they can't think for themselves, okay? So think for yourself. Dig, research. Don't listen to just take it for granted anything I'm saying or anything Mike's saying or anyone's saying. Dig. There's no time for this media. We're past that point. They're starving us now. They're ruining the crops everywhere around the world. Okay? So really dig on what
that is
preparation
bad management.
Well, we have to manage ourselves. That's what I'm saying. We have to really prepare. And there again, there's Republic. Vince Finelli comes over from GCN and shares with us. So we just have how do you have time for any of this monster media? It's nonsense. And then just to get on the phone to say you want to argue with this caller and that caller, pro-Trump and against Trump, and that misses the mark altogether, people. Just love each other and do the best you can. Try to help each other. Okay, that's what we're here for. That's what we live for. And I see Miss Claire go by in the back there. Howdy to her.
Okay.
Anyway.
Hello, Claire. Caller says hello.
Oh, it looks like you're having fun there. I know we did get that cold spurt, but I think we're going to have drastic extremes this year. Now, here where I live, I keep it kind of wild. And
there's snow here in Indiana. Not where we are, but there is already snow in Indiana.
We had about 6 inches was the most, but we've had about 4 snowfalls already, and that's unusual. But I keep it really wild here, like a sanctuary, so I've gotten to see, after Fukushima, the mutant bugs and the decline in insects, birds, all wildlife. And I'm kind of an empath, and it kind of, but you know, I don't know if you ever heard of the woolly bear. Now, this is a custom back
Yes.
through time. It has the 13 stripes, so it's for the 13 lunar months, and
Yes.
the less black on either end. Well, I didn't even see any this year, and the one that had to pass for it last year, the only one, was kind of the tawny color, but it was a little rectangular thing with a tiny bit of black fringe around the bottom. And we had 60 below wind chill last year, but it didn't last forever. You know, so I'm just saying, just be ready for extremes. You've got to roll with it.
Well, that's what I said at the top of the show. I mean, you know, it does look like we're going to have another very bitter, prolonged winter, and people need to be prepared for that, to deal with that,
Yeah.
and deal with the fact that we're going to be looking at some food shortages this year because the floods delayed the spring planting, and now the early arrival of winter has basically brought the farming season to a halt. And the only thing we seem to have a surplus of is bacon.
Well,
So,
you know, you can make sprouts, right? You can get a whole pound of beans and make sprouts right on your kitchen counter with a jar and drain the water. Takes about 4 days, you know?
yep.
And they're highly nutritious. I mean, there's all kind of things you can do. And here where I live, I have to walk out in the winter, but I love it. I've always loved snow, and I have snowshoes. There's native made type snowshoes, and it's
Yes.
so much fun, you know? So enjoy life, people. You know, it's an amazing time to have chosen to be alive, let's say.
Well, I don't know. I think actually, in a lot of ways, it's a very sad time to be alive because, you know, we're watching the decline and fall of the United States of America. And when I was very young, during my childhood, I felt there was reason to be proud of the country, especially during the space race. But today, we're just seeing it destroy itself. This impeachment circus has just disgusted so many people. They're not watching it. And it's really not going anywhere. I mean, the people who are already predisposed to hate Donald Trump are saying he shouldn't have made that phone call to the president of Ukraine. The people who are supporting Trump are saying, well, yeah, that's just a normal part of the job. But it's very, very obvious that there is a core within the government that wants him gone. And if this impeachment thing fails, and it looks like it's going to fail, then, you know, Trump needs to be very, very careful about what he eats and where he goes. He's got to wear his Kevlar and double up on the coffee for his protective detail.
Yeah, you know, when we have time to research and we have access, research things like Ayurveda and Greek medicine. You know, let food be your medicine. Don't get tricked into taking all these drugs. You know, even off-label ones, they can come, as Robert told us, you know, all these fentanyl busts,
Yeah.
they could choose to sabotage the whole country in a heartbeat, you know, by putting fentanyl in things like aspirin.
Yes.
So I'm just saying, take care of yourselves, people, but enjoy nature and research. I have some old-fashioned wooden toys, and I'm thinking.
Oh, my
of
grandfather
giving
used to
them
make
to
those
somebody.
all the time here. And, you know, I've got bird seed out back to attract the birds in a little suet cage. And, you know, I've got a trail camera out there. Haven't caught anything really
Mhm.
interesting with it yet. But I think we've got
Yeah, the
deer.
wolves have come back here. Not real bad yet, but
Where are you
and
geographically?
Wisconsin. I'm in the
Okay.
Driftless area. That's the Southwest, and that's an area that never got hit by glaciers ever.
Yep.
And it's fabulous. I love it. It's honeycombed with caves and things. You know, people don't even know about. All kind of beautiful things. But the
So
bird
is this part
seed,
of Indiana?
I have to. Huh?
I said, so is this part of Indiana. And
Yes.
you can actually, in the southern part of the state, you can pan for emeralds. I haven't found any yet, but yeah, you know, after spending 20 years in Hawaii, where everything was just lava, I'm actually having a lot of fun looking at the variety of rocks in the area. Now, most of it's Devonian glacial till, but I have found one piece of burl so far. and some fossils. So, that part
I'm
of
a
it.
bit of a rock hound myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I took a course in college, and I really love it. And I got drawn out here, and I just love it. People need to really enjoy. Sometimes you have to just take it on faith and go where you need to go and do what you got to do, and you may not see the benefits entirely, even in your entire life. It's like planting an acorn.
Claire says much the same thing. And unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go because we've got to take another break for commercials. And we will be
Thank you, Mike.
right back.
Bye-bye.
Hey, this check is wrong. I worked a holiday and 7 hours of overtime. Not getting paid correctly is a real pain. It could also hurt our boss if our company provides out-of-compliance checks. That's right. Construction companies doing business with the government can get fined, or officials of the companies can go to jail if the checks aren't right. It's a law. The Davis-Bacon Act has 30 compliance issues for every check. But there is an easy way for construction companies to be in compliance. EMARS offers Compliant Client, a web-based system that finds and corrects all 30 of the possible out-of-compliance check issues. Users of Compliant Client report an 80% savings in time and money. Running a weekly payroll usually takes about 5 minutes. All 15,000 plus clients of EMARS have never had a legal compliance issue. Plus, they sleep better on check day. Contact EMARS at emarsinc.com or call 480-595-0466.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. And apparently CENTCOM has ordered 500 military personnel to resume the fight against ISIS in eastern Syria. And this, of course, is a complete reversal of Trump's withdrawing most of his troops from the country. So it didn't really happen. Trump got up there and said, we're pulling the troops out. Huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. Everybody said, good for Trump. He's keeping one of his campaign promises, which is to wind down these intrusions. But again, it didn't happen. It absolutely did not happen. Okay, U.S. forces have attacked boats that were caught smuggling oil to the Syrian government. Apparently, they attacked 4 tanker ferries on Saturday that were attempting to smuggle oil from the SDF-held areas in eastern Syria to the Syrian government territories. And according to local reports, the U.S. warplanes targeted these ferries while they were traveling through the southern region of Syria's Euphrates River Valley. Anyway, so apparently a senior foreign affairs official for the Kurds, Aldar Khalil, reported that the U.S. has assured Kurdish forces that U.S. troops will remain in the oil field area between Derik and Terbispia in eastern Syria. But apparently the assurance doesn't seem to really help the Kurds feel better. They're not entirely sure that the U.S. government can be relied on to keep its word. Alrighty. Russia has apparently reached the end of its patience with Israel. Israel did more strikes into Syria, and this time Russia came on out and revealed the operational details of how Israel carried out these attacks on Damascus. Apparently, they flew through Jordan, which Jordan is going to have to respond to because they didn't have permission here. Another report is coming on out about the White Helmets, saying that they're involved in human organ trafficking, along with everything else that they were doing that was not very, very good. Now, the White Helmets is a non-governmental organization. They disseminated a lot of falsified information about events in Syria. They were trying to help with the frame-up of Bashar al-Assad. And so the director for the Russian Foundation for the Study of Democracy, Maxim Grigoriev, basically made the statement saying that the White Helmets have been involved in forcible removal of organs from Syrians living in militant-controlled zones. Now, there's a huge black market for human organs. They're very, very expensive because the waiting list for legitimate transplants is very, very long. Okay, we got to take a break now for station identification. We'll be back after these few words.
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendivite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendivite is that ounce. Take Extendivite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendivite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show, hour number 2. And as long as we're going through Syria and talking about all the lies and deceptions, and again, when you hear all of this, think back to when you were told that Saddam had nuclear weapons and Assad had poison gas, and there were torpedoes on the Gulf of Tonkin, a Spanish mine in Havana Harbor. Just think back on all the times the American people have been lied to by this government to spook us into fighting wars of aggression. So the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has been accused of manipulating the Syrian chemical attack report. And of course, when they put that report out, WikiLeaks basically published an email sent by a member of OPCW who basically said, yeah, they were manipulating all this information to make it look like Assad had carried out a chemical attack on the Syrian city of Douma back in 2018. And in response to the alleged attack, the US, Great Britain, and France carried out airstrikes on the Syrian government. And the author of the email was a member of a fact-finding team the OPCW sent to Douma to investigate the attack. The author accuses the OPCW of selectively omitting certain facts. And he basically said the facts on the ground said that there was no chemical attack. Those parts were taken out of the report, and the corporate media did the rest, and we were off blowing up a bunch of Syrian people. Now, so what we have here is yet another scandal involving a sexed up dossier. And they're basically saying this dissenting scientist, who is currently employed by the OPCW, but probably not for much longer, and said there was no evidence that a chemical attack had taken place. I remember when that all happened, and there were these videos being shot by the White Helmets where they dragged a bunch of kids into this clinic and just poured water all over their heads. And there was no biosafety clothing. There was nothing that would indicate a contagious chemical. And a lot of the doctors who were actually at that clinic were saying the kids appeared to have suffered dust inhalation from a conventional bombing of a nearby building, but that was basically it. As a measure of just how crazy the world is starting to get, down in Chile, riot police are being pelted with Molotov cocktails during another outbreak of violence and protests that have so far left 24 dead and thousands hurt. So thousands of people gathered again in the Plaza Italia, the center of the demonstrations in Santiago, Chile, as part of the ongoing protests that basically they want the Chilean president to step down because of corruption, because he's not doing a good job for the Chilean people. And the police are responding using tear gas and water cannons. Are all the world's leaders evil and corrupt? I'm beginning to think that's the case. Politics is like a giant septic tank. The really big chunks always rise to the top. Over in Hong Kong, they just had their elections, and the pro-democracy camp won 17 out of 18 districts. And the city leader says she'll reflect on the result, which is political speak for, I don't care what the voters want. Now, you've probably already seen this on the news here, but apparently the Navy Secretary, Spencer, has been asked to step down by the Defense Secretary, Esper, over the mishandling of this Navy SEAL Gallagher case. Apparently, a lot of people thought that merely posing with a dead body should have been allowed to slide. So Spencer was accused of mishandling the case, and they've demanded his resignation. Apparently, the New York Times wrote an article saying that Spencer wanted to resign because of the way he was being treated, and Spencer has now denied that. Meanwhile, Trump has tapped Ambassador to Norway Braithwaite to replace the Navy Secretary fired over the Gallagher scandal. All right, former New York City Mayor Bloomberg officially enters the 2020 presidential race. So far, it's a lukewarm reception. I can imagine that the other Democratic candidates are scrambling out there because the entry of Bloomberg is going to change the dynamic. I can see why a lot of people would prefer that he had stayed out. All right, we're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining the network. Rudy Giuliani is out there saying that he's discovered a pattern of corruption that the Washington press has been covering up for 3 or 4 years. Now, who was president 4 years ago? I wonder. So Giuliani is explaining that he's uncovered a massive pay-for-play Soros-Ukraine scheme facilitated by U.S. diplomats. That's why everybody is out to protect the Bidens and their dealings with Ukraine. Because they were all dipping in. Huge amounts of money. Huge amounts of money. Over in Ukraine, they had a news conference saying that Biden got money stolen from Ukrainians. And you're not going to see that on our corporate media, by golly. Okay. And another report is coming out saying that it was Representative Adam Schiff who told Ukrainian officials, don't investigate the Bidens. And this is something that we see in politics on a very common basis. You accuse your opposition of committing the crime you yourself did. Okay. Apparently, the State Department has now released evidence of criminal activity against Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and surprisingly, John Kerry. So he got tangled up in this as well. And Giuliani is now saying that Iraq was part of this pay-for-play corruption that was going on. Earlier in the show, I asked, are they all crooked? I think the answer is yes. Now, it's kind of fun watching Schiff squirm because there's now talk about calling him to testify before the U.S. Senate if the impeachment passes the House and goes to the Senate. And Schiff is saying that there's no reason to call him as a witness. And he's saying he won't testify if Republicans subpoena him because it would turn into a circus. It would give Trump the opportunity he desires for retribution. Well, I'm sorry, but if you are subject to a congressional subpoena, you go on in there, you swear your oath, and you tell the truth. Or you face a perjury charge. Now, do you remember Peter Strzok and Lisa Page? Apparently, at one point, they worked for the current ICIG, who edited Whistleblower Forum to legitimize Schiff's sham. What a mess. What an absolute mess here. All righty, the corporate media is out there doing its job, trying to assure you that the upcoming Horowitz report is about as useful as a box of rocks. And they're downplaying the significance of the FBI lawyer and as a pot of nothingness. Now, the lawyer who worked on Hillary's email scandal is a Democratic loyalist, stated Vive la Resistance, was booted from the Mueller investigation for that statement. So this is not an insignificant person. Hunter Biden's company got $130 million in bailout funds. This is coming via Alana Goodman in the Washington Examiner. And she's reporting that Hunter was associated with the firm that received more than $130 million in financial bailout funds. The firm is called Rosemont Capital. We've heard that name before. And then set up a fund that was incorporated in the Cayman Islands, presumably for the purpose of avoiding U.S. taxes. Well, Biden's out on the campaign trail saying that he's got 4 potential female vice presidential picks. When the press challenged him, he couldn't remember their names. Off to a bad start there, Joe. Another article here, this is from Information Clearinghouse. The CIA and the FBI are corrupt, we knew that, but what about Congress? Well, I'd say it's rapidly becoming very, very clear that with precious few exceptions, Congress is corrupted. Now remember Pocahontas? Apparently Elizabeth Warren was out there on the campaign trail, and she's been saying that her son goes to public school. And apparently a reporter confronted her with evidence that in point of fact, she sends her son to a private school. While everything was focused on impeachment-orama, impeachment mania, not a real impeachment, but an incredible simulation. The House of Representatives voted to pass an emergency funding bill through December 20th. And if the Senate passes it, the continuing resolution would prevent a government shutdown and forestall a debate about the border wall funding. It also extends the Patriot Act. A lot of people are saying, why did the Democrats do this? Rasmussen just did a poll, and they're saying it's very likely that regardless of the outcome of the Trump impeachment, we're likely to see violence in the streets. Trump is impeached. The pro-Trump people, realizing what a sham it is, are going to be very, very angry. If Trump is not impeached, the people who wanted him gone, they're going to be angry. It's a bad, bad formula. All righty. Apparently, the Senate was looking into the situation with Epstein, and apparently the prison director was testifying before the committee, and this one senator just grilled the guy and said, after Suicide Watch, they can be moved to psychological observation. Do they have roommates? No, they do not have roommates because they're being watched. Did Epstein have a roommate when he allegedly committed suicide? No. Well, then he didn't have a roommate because you're supposed to be watching them, yet he wasn't watched either, and the cameras were off too. Now, Attorney General William Barr is saying it's time to get rid of all these conspiracy theories about Epstein, because really it was just a series of incredible coincidences. People just have a tendency to want to see the worst case scenario, but it was a perfect storm of screw ups. The 2 guards falling asleep, the cameras not working. So William Barr just shot his own credibility in the foot. And I think that we now have a measure of the man. He is no better than Loretta Lynch or any of these other attorney generals who are in fact protectors of the status quo. All right, Ruth Bader Ginsburg is back in the hospital. She is sick for the second time this month. She had chills and a fever. Now, she's 86 years old. And of course, the liberals are very, very nervous because if she passes away, she's clearly in a condition of physical weakness. If she passes away, Trump gets to nominate another Supreme Court justice. And we get to go through that whole Kavanaugh nonsense all over again. I don't know about you. I think the Democrats are really frying themselves with all of this nonsense. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Prince Andrew, because he's really stepped in it. And apparently, the latest embarrassment is that Prince Andrew met with Jeffrey Epstein's madam, Ghislaine Maxwell, for a secret summit at Buckingham Palace. And the Duke of York admitted in his Newsnight interview that he saw Maxwell during the summer, but denied discussing Epstein. But the Sun revealed the long-term palace met inside Andrew's private palace quarters on June the 2nd. Now, the choice of venue is a huge embarrassment for the Queen. She has responded by literally kicking Prince Andrew out of Buckingham Palace. He's lost his sponsors, he's lost his royal duties, and now he's having to find a new place to live. Because his apartments that he had in Buckingham Palace, the Queen doesn't want him there anymore. Latest polls are showing that more than half the British public want Prince Andrew banned from public events attended by the whole royal family, including Trooping the Colour and Remembrance Sunday. Huge, huge embarrassment. Okay, we're going to take a phone call now from Mark in North Carolina. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, Mike, two things. One is going back to good old Epstein again. I'm not, people don't fool anybody. They certainly don't fool me. This is the way I now put it together, okay? So the two officers were probably drugged. Easy to drug them. They could have drugged their food. They could have drugged their drink, whatever, okay? And they fell asleep. At that point, they probably shut off the cameras, purposely made it look like they weren't working, and then they went to work. Probably, if I had to guess, that big muscle man with the 4 homicides, he's looking at 4 homicide charges. I think he may have done it. Maybe it was somebody else. It's hard to say. Okay, this is all planned. All right. I thought at first maybe they smuggled him out, but no, I'm beginning to believe more and more that he was murdered. This is to cover up all this. I think Trump might have even approved of this, being that Barr, they all have something to lose, including Barr himself. Barr had connections with Epstein. Trump has connections with Epstein. Just about everybody in the Congress has connections with Epstein. Everybody in the highest forms of government have connections with Epstein. I don't know how many of them have been blackmailed. Probably a good many of them. That's our Middle East policy right there.
Yes.
And maybe other policies also around the world. And that's what I believe happened. Plain and simple. It's not that it was a desperate move for the deep state to do, but they had to, because the thing is, to leave Epstein alive could have brought down the entire government.
Well, see, the problem is Epstein, being in the position he was in, probably had dead man switches set up so that he couldn't be killed without, scandal erupting all the way across the world. So I think he's still alive. I think he's down in the Caymans. I think they found somebody who looked a lot like him. Remember, they didn't do a DNA test They don't know for a fact that that body was actually him. Anyway, Mark, stay on the line. We got to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
How healthy are your arteries? Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold, arms and or legs often go to sleep, sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe, short walks cause cramping or pains in legs, memory is not as good as it used to be, ankles swell late in the day, chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no way, can't draw no pay, unemployment getting.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're talking with Mark in North Carolina. We're talking about Epstein. And I think they faked his death and got him out of there because he was in a position to blackmail everybody. And somebody who's playing the kind of games that he's playing, they're going to have dead man switches. And it's a common enough thing. In fact, Rudy Giuliani was out there saying he's got his own dead man switches, so he's going to avoid assassination that way. The big question is, who actually has all of Epstein's files and what are they doing with them? Now, we know that the computer equipment and everything that was down in his Caribbean island has been removed. I understand the property has actually been sold to some big mucky muck from the Middle East.
All right. Well, if you're right, and you may be right, I'm not going to say I'm about 75-25 now that he was murdered. But if you're right, I think he's in Israel. Israelis take care of their own.
Yes.
Plain and simple. He's a Zionist Jew. He did his thing for them, and they probably wanted him alive. They may well have wanted him alive, much like they wanted that spy there, that traitor. What was his name? Joel something or another.
You don't mean Jonathan Pollard, do you?
Jonathan Pollard, yeah, Jonathan Pollard. I
Okay.
like that. Okay, that's what the Israelis they do take care of their fellow Zionist Jews, you know. So I tend to believe that if he is alive, that's the case. The deal was made to smuggle him out. What gets me too is, you know, as usual, the ruling class takes advantage and is using the working class people and making these two correctional officers the fall guys.
Yes.
Okay? And like I said, I do believe at this point that those officers, one way or the other, whether they smuggled them out or they killed them, were drugged, put to sleep, and then the cameras disabled. It's very insidious. Disgusts me as an American. You all should.
Well, you know, we're going to have to follow. We're going to have to follow the careers of these two officers because they may have made a deal. I mean, it's like the JFK assassination, which we just had. What, the 56th anniversary of that? The chief of police of Dallas, who lost his charge, JFK. I'm sorry. He wasn't the chief of police at the time, but he later on became the chief of police. And Ray Vaughn, who was the officer accused of letting Jack Ruby into the basement of the Dallas Police Center so that he could kill Lee Harvey Oswald, eventually became chief of police of Midlothian, Texas. So we have to keep track of these people and see, you know, are they getting favors? Are they getting special treatment? Are they being rewarded down the road somewhere?
But the thing is, neither of these two cops were indicted. These two officers have already been indicted. Now they're going to have a trial. Maybe a mock trial. I don't know. You may be right. Maybe there's a few $1 million waiting for them. Maybe they just plead guilty and, you know, and they'll be somewhere in the Cayman Islands or somewhere like that, multimillionaires. That's possible. I don't rule out anything. This government and this corporate structure is so evil today, Mike. I don't rule out a thing. So, you know, and that brings me to one more other thing I wanted to talk to you about is this dirty little clown, Baron. What's his name? Baron Cohen. Okay.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen. Yeah. This scumbag made these remarks about people should be locked up if they basically for practicing free speech. He made that in front of the ADL, another one of these Zionist organizations, Anti-Defamation League. This guy is incredible. I mean, he made made that movie Borat. And
yes.
He did a song there, "Throw the Jews in the Well," and pretended he was from Kazakhstan, right? That's just, you know, you want to talk about anti-Semitism, that is anti-Semitism. That's anti-Jew to say they should throw the Jews in the well and go give it a concert somewhere. They didn't know who this guy really was. A lot of these people actually thought this clown really was from Kazakhstan. So he was besmirching the country of Kazakhstan on top of everything else. This is a slime ball and a half, Mike. People got to understand what's going on.
He's not even that good an actor. I mean, I was wondering why they even bothered with his character in the movie Hugo.
You know, I did see Borat. I'll be honest, at the time, I thought it was kind of funny. I hadn't really been fully red-pilled yet at the time. I didn't know who this clown was, even Baron Sacha Cohen. Okay?
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is that when I think about it, and then I heard that Alex Jones played that song. I forgot about that song. And then I put it on YouTube, and sure enough, by the way, I posted it on Facebook. I wish I still had, I can't tweet anymore because they took away my right to tweet. So at least I'm able to post these things on Facebook. I got my own YouTube channel, but I'm having trouble with that now, posting on that. It keeps on rejecting my postings the last few days. So
Okay, well, Mark,
basically
I got to let you go. We got to take another break for commercials. We have another caller waiting on the line, and we will be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Ann, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendivite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Some are maxed out all their credit cards. Some are working 2 jobs and living in cars. Minimum wage won't pay for a roof, won't pay for a drink. If you gotta have proof, just try it yourself, Mr. CEO. See how far $5.15 an hour will go. Take a part-time job at one of your stores. I bet you can't make it here anymore.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Phil in Florida. Aloha, Phil. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Thanks. Just a couple of things, actually. First, I'm with the Dr. Bob Bowman chapter of We Are Change Central Florida. And the reason why I'm saying this is I'm hoping to get contact from the woman caller from Wisconsin about 45 minutes ago. And I know you want to protect people's personal information, but if the woman has access to Facebook, I hope she reaches out to us at We Are Change CFL. That's the username, or perhaps email the show. You know, if you don't mind being a broker there, we would like to speak with her. Second is the what I called in about was the firefighters for 9/11 Truth. You know, the not long ago, the fire department up in New York that came out for the investigation, a new investigation. Well, I got a copy of that letter, and Joe from Tennessee and his brother Jim up in New York, we all know each other and very involved with the 9/11 Truth for years. And we had a big job fair up here in Daytona Beach. Like 70 different fire and police departments out of Central Florida did a EMS job fair, and I put a really good package together with a cover letter that letter that the fire department up in New York issued, you know, pushing for an investigation. And I approached all of them. There must have been, I handed out like 60 packets at this thing, and, you know, contact number right on the front page, good short discussion with each of them. It was pretty well received. And that's the way these guys are. They're polite and everything, but, you know, they don't go any further than that. And I said, I'm a volunteer for, you know, the 9/11 families. We're trying to get people behind the Bobby McIlvaine Act, and there's a fire department up in New York that's taken the lead on it, and we're hoping you folks will, you know, present it to your fellow officers and firefighters, and hopefully you'll get on board too. You know, here's our number. And I took the cards, not one call, you know, to be expected, but I wanted to get your take and perhaps other callers on, are there ways we can further pursue this kind of effort? I mean, they have these job fairs in every state, you know, and what's a better way to actually get dialogue with these guys? Maybe a good way to follow up. So that's pretty much what I wanted to present to you and the listeners, and I can take your answers off air.
Okay, well, basically, my answer is that at this point in time, this many years after 9/11 happened, the people who think the official story is junk, they're already convinced. They've looked at all the data, and they don't feel like they need to come back in and say, yes, I agree with you. And then, of course, you have the others who absolutely refuse to believe that our government could do such a thing to get us into war.
Right.
And so, you know, they're definitely going to look the other way. Plus, at this point, you need to understand that there's a lot of spooks at all these get-togethers, and a lot of these firefighter candidates and so forth are concerned that if they interact with you, that they'll be put on a list someplace that says, don't hire this person.
Yeah. And yeah, see, I get the part you first said, you know, about you either get it or you're not, but to see if there's any, and I just heard your second answer about being concerned about their jobs and getting on a list and just staying quiet. But God darn it, Mike, you know, we finally got one fire department up there in New York that's taken the lead on it, and I'm just thinking, we got this. You know, we got to give it a shot. We got to take a shot at these firefighters around the country and maybe get a couple more to join on, you know. And it's hard for me to give up, you know, all these years. And also, I just want to restate, if the woman in Wisconsin is still listening, she called in almost an hour ago. We'd love to hear from her. Facebook.com/We Are Change, capital C, capital F, capital L. That's how she can reach us if she's interested in talking.
Okay, well, I presume she's still listening to the show, and she'll be getting in touch. So thank you very much for the phone call, Phil. We're going to let you go. And
Thank you, Mike.
I'm a big 9/11 truther, but at the same time, you need to realize it is fading into history, and we have more current things to be worried about, like lies about Assad and his sarin gas, and lies about Saddam's nuclear weapons, and so forth. All right, we're going to take another phone call. Kevin in, W in Texas. Aloha, W. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello, Mike. I guess I wanted to mention the whole camera whole camera deal with the Epstein. Because if you recall, and I'm sure all your listeners recall, the very first thing they said was that the guards were asleep and that the cameras had malfunction. So how
Yes.
is it that last week the AG Barr says that he saw video evidence that convinces him that the official story is correct? Something is not matching there. It doesn't
Nope.
take a it doesn't take a scientist to figure out that that's not matching. That you tell us it's malfunctioning. 3 months later, you saw evidence on a camera. I mean, it's just blatant lying at this point. It's just amazing to me. I don't know what else to say.
Well, it's back like when George W. Bush stated that he saw the first plane hit the first tower on 9/11, which was not possible unless he had a closed-circuit camera.
It's crazy stuff. Can I add one more question or one more comment?
Certainly.
Real quick. Okay, so this is not dealing with the U.S., but with Brazil and with the whole like Amazon deal. Vox News or whatever on YouTube, they have a 3-part series about the Amazon. They talk about how the Amazon was developed and the history of Brazil and the connection, everything. But anyway, they get up to the third episode today. They talk about the Indian reservations. So under Lula and Rousseff, under those, I guess, socialist administrations, they even back to the 80s, they developed a indigenous agency to protect the indigenous land and to protect those people, to actually have enforcement, protect the land from farmers and everything. And
Yes.
so what has happened under Bolsonaro, they have taken money from that agency. And so now that is sort of leading to all the fires you're seeing. And they're literally they don't have any protection. They don't have a federal agency to protect these indigenous lands and everything. And I just think I think that's really backwards thinking. I mean, it's one thing to have economic development, but it's another thing to, protect your indigenous, protect your ecology of your land. I just think that if you want to call, I hate to use this term, but savages, that's really savage thinking, not being sustainable, not, practicing, economic development with ecology. It's just really terrible. It's a mistake by the Bolsonaro administration. And again, I hate to say it, but that's connected with Trump's kind of idea of unregulated capitalism and not having any type of, it's all money driven, profit driven. It's not thinking long term. It's really short term thinking. And I think that's
Well, under the
unfortunate what's
best of
happening in Amazon.
circumstances, Trump is only going to be president for 8 years.
Right. So there's that. All right, that was it. Thank you.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Kevin in West Virginia. Aloha, Kevin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mr. Mike. I was wondering if you had seen Sacha Baron Cohen come out with his speech, and because I know he's just a mouthpiece of the ADL last week, where he was calling for the arrest of all of the 6 tech heads if they do not turn over complete censorship and complete communications with all of their companies.
Yes.
Not even Hitler made or had speeches that draconian as what Sacha Baron Cohen, with his speech. It has me a little concerned. Why is the ADL launching this, and why is it always anti-Semitic? Like criticizing George Soros or criticizing Israel, we're not criticizing their religion or their faith. We're criticizing them because they're bad people and it's a bad government.
Well, that's, our point of view, but Israel's gotten along all these years by simply denouncing any criticism of anybody as, you just hate the Jewish people. You're being an anti-Semite. And they've been able to use this as a lever to basically pry up the edge of the First Amendment. And there is an alarming number of U.S. congressmen who are ready to pass laws saying that the First Amendment does not cover criticism of Israel or anybody in the Israeli government.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm aware of that. It's just the ADL is completely, they're crazy and off the wall. I mean, launching this anti-Semitic thing because our point of views are different, because we don't agree with them. I mean, I don't know if you agree with what they're saying, if they don't turn over their communications or turn over everything like YouTube, Facebook, all of their monitoring systems, that they all need to be arrested. I mean, I think that's gone way too far. And I also think, your six tech heads, they're going to roll over to the ADL anyway, eventually. I'm concerned. I'm very concerned.
Yes, you should be. You should be. And if you go back and you look at the history of the ADL and how it got started, you'll understand what they're really all about.
And I do. Is there any way? I mean, I know the ADL has probably got oodles and boodles and buku money, but how do we, the little people, fight an organization like that? Because, and I'm not saying shut the ADL down or censor them, because I'm not for censorship at all. Everybody has a right to speak, but these people don't need to be monitoring what we're doing at all.
Well,
I mean,
see,
and like I said,
here's the disconnect, because we've been told that Israel already gets all of the intercepted traffic from the NSA without any filters whatsoever. So I don't know why the ADL is out there trying to push this, other than as a scare tactic.
Okay, that makes more sense. Makes more sense. Man, we're in trouble. That's all I can say. And I don't think there's anything that any of us can do. I mean, I agree with Dustin that nothing's done. I wish there's something that could be done. I mean, sounding the alarm, can only go so far. And like you, I don't want to see a revolt or a revolution or anything like that. I don't want to see violence in the streets. But what other option do we have at this point?
Well, I think the technological option is still out there, and I don't want to go into any fine details, but there are people out there working to bring back true peer-to-peer internet communication, heavily encrypted, so that we can send messages to each other and the ADL can go pound sand.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Mike. I hope you have a great and wonderful rest of the show, and give Miss Claire the best.
I certainly will. And we're going to switch over to Bruce in Texas. Aloha, Bruce. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yes, aloha, Mike. Hey, I just want to respond to that caller, the two callers ago. You was speaking to firemen?
Yes.
Okay. I was a firefighter paramedic on 9/11. Of course, I wasn't there, but one of our units was crushed under the rubble, and we lost one person. Yeah, I didn't find that out till about six years later, when the FOIA videos came out. They were forced out, and found that ambulance looked exactly like the ambulance I was on the day before. And so ever since then, I've been into 9/11 truth. I suffered career-wise. Later on, I was in a organization with some former military, former special forces, and I'm former military myself. I served in the first Gulf War. I was airborne infantry, and so we had a report first, and then I brought up the subject, and it made its way straight up to the top, and I was let go within a week. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with denial, and we're dealing with people who just that they must have. I like to know how many psychiatrists, psychologists that the spook agencies have on their payroll to figure out how they're going to go about these operations and marginalize the 20% that will get it, and separate them from the 80% that are basically sheeple. It's pretty. I'm pretty black-pilled on it. I know we don't want to be negative, but I'm being realistic too. As long as the food is at the supermarket and the checks are coming in from your government agencies, what have you, as long as there's a standard of living that's tolerable, I don't think we're going to see any change. This is like a slow roll down into tyranny, and we're almost there.
Well, I think we're already there. Especially if you look at, again, what social media is doing to shut down. I mean, how many callers have we had into the show today who are saying their tweeting privileges have been revoked? YouTube is blocking, they're posting the videos and stuff. And I mean, I quit social media like first part of the year because I saw this was all coming. And so they haven't bothered with me because I'm not using their platforms.
Yeah, well, they separate us from their platforms. They have a monopoly, so our reach is very limited, even though what you were talking about before about peer-to-peer networking, yeah, that maybe that would be a solution for communication in a worst-case scenario, but we're being squashed. I just hope something happens there. It's just pretty bad. And but I just want you to know that there's one person at least who is a firefighter, paramedic, who knows, and I salute those. They're volunteers though. That fire company or that agency that requested a reinvestigation, and that gives them a little bit of leeway because they're not dependent on the government for their subsistence. All right, thank you.
Well, Bruce, I got to let you go. Got to take a break for commercials. Got more callers waiting on the line, and we'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Joe in Tennessee. Aloha, Joe. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, it was really good to hear Phil's voice. I spent a lot of time in the trenches down there in Florida with Phil, setting up, different memorials and giving out DVDs and going to the Daytona 500 and giving out DVDs and getting beer bottles thrown at us and stuff. And, there comes a point where the 9/11 information is out there, and you really have to be kind of like, avoiding it on purpose, willfully ignorant or purposely avoiding it to like not see it by now. And I actually do think that a lot of people see it and deal with it, but it's like the other caller, the just previous caller said, they learn that, look at what they did to that guy that spoke up about it. Next thing you know, they were flying him home.
Yeah.
I've lost jobs because of 9/11 truth. I've been beaten up because of 9/11 truth. So there's a lot of people that see this stuff and say, well, what good does it get you, But I look at it like I've repositioned my fight, because you have to look at like what's going to pay dividends. And right now, you have to look at the people behind 9/11 were the deep state and the neocons and the Zionists. And what's the best way to like expose them and red pill the other people of this country, not about 9/11, but about our common enemy. And that is like through what's going on with the FISA and what they did to Trump. And I mean, you got to say, Trump has done wonders as far as the deep state going after him and trying and exposing themselves. And, when we were on the street corner, me and Phil and our group, the most hostility we would get were by Republicans and conservatives and military people, because they were really into the government. And, you would say something about the deep state to them and they'd laugh at you, call you a nut. And the beauty of what's happening now is that there's a big wedge being wedged right in there between the deep state and these USA chanting red-blooded, American patriot types, So that to me is where the deep state and the neocons and the people behind 9/11, we're breaking away the military. We're breaking away the gun lovers, because they're seeing what the deep state is doing, how the deep state are globalists, and how the deep state aren't Americans. They're really just globalist neocon patsies. So, the one interesting thing I've noticed lately is that a lot of the hostility towards 9/11 truth isn't coming from the USA chanting Republican types. It's actually starting to come from the left.
Yes.
You'll see these Antifa type and the left that are more likely to be hostile to the 9/11 truth information than the right. And, that's not the way it was like 15 to 18 years ago when we were on that street corner. Back then, it was all the like guys with the crew cuts and the real straight-laced Republican types. But now it's the left, and they really get hysterical when you bring up 9/11. And I just think that's an interesting change. Because what's happening is the left now have become the defenders of the deep state. They've become the defenders of what they really, the CIA,
okay.
the
Joe,
John Brennan communists.
Joe, I'm sorry, I got to
you.
let you go. We got to take a break for station
No
identification.
Hey,
Back with
Phil,
more
thanks
phone
for your
calls.
call.
We'll be right back.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, 2, keep it today.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. We're going to go back to the phones to Lauren in Ohio. Aloha, Lauren. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, that lovely woman that called, that the other caller already called and commented about, you had a real nice conversation with her, and she was telling you, have hope. And she's right. I love that caller, and I hope she calls more often. I'm just, 4 steps, quick solution. First step, obey God, and I'm talking 10 commandments. Now, you could be an atheist, but, just go with the, thou shalt not kill, do murder, thou shalt not steal, maybe a little not coveting, maybe that, instead of going to other countries and to steal their stuff like Syria. Trump Heights, my foot. What the heck is going on there? Oh, we'll just keep their oil. No. And I'm not for Trump or against Trump. I'm for the truth. I'm for the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, and the understanding that we came to this country as free kings. We wanted to rule ourselves, not be bossed around by a king or anybody else to tell us how to pray or how to speak or whether or not we can defend ourselves. This is a bunch of nonsense. So what the woman was saying was correct, and for the guy who just kind of felt that learned helplessness kind of thing, what can we do? It's the government, it's so big. You don't change them, you change yourself. You stop letting them direct your attention. And I know a lot of us know because we listen to shows like this, and this is where our attention is. But you share that message with your friends and family. Do you feel better watching Joe Biden get away with it, watching Hillary Clinton get away? Do you feel better? Talk about it, yeah, but don't hang your hat on it. Don't plan that somehow or another a resolution there is going to make your life any better. It isn't. So first rule, obey God. 10 simple commandments. Let's respect each other. Let's walk in the truth. Second one, keep your money in your pocket. If you don't owe taxes, don't pay them. And this is just like all this stuff coming about the pedophilia and the Satanism. Second guy next to the Pope, who's supposed to be looking into the sexual, rape of these kids, and instead he's part of it. He just gets convicted. Well, it's the same thing with the tax situation. WeissParis.com, WEISS Paris.com. It's all Social Security legislation and IRS legislation. You just change your status. You'd be American national instead of a U.S. citizen. 2 different statuses, both of them passport eligible. That's what I'm saying. This is the rules, but they don't teach these things in school. They teach you new math
and they don't follow their own
and training
rules.
library time.
The problem is they don't follow their own rules. They expect us to.
Well, yeah, but they don't need to follow them. No, that's the point, though. What they did was they dumbed us down so we didn't know the rules, and then they say, you have to do what I say. Now, it's not true any more than the bully on the playground saying, you have to do what I say. Give me the money, or I'll beat you up. No, it's, some point you have to understand, you may have to fight, but my point is these people don't fight with you. When you fill out these documents, the other option for you is Kelby Smith's stuff, statecitizen.org. If you're an atheist and you don't want to do anything from a perspective of God, you don't have to. You're still not their property. They didn't make you. And that's what I'm saying. The Constitution is a body of negative law limiting the maids and the butlers as to what they can do. Article 1, Section 9. or 8 is what tells them what they can do. And like Section 9 says on the border, that the president's supposed to do exactly what he's doing there. Shut the border down. Stop letting these people all come in here, and stop violating the Constitution with all the welfare and free this and free that. We could solve our whole problem. They're complaining about $5 billion for a wall, but they'll pay hundreds of billions, trillions for paying and feeding and all this. Change it to beans and rice. That's the full protein complement. All you want. I remember government cheese. We can
Yes, I remember
feed
that.
people. We don't need to give them money that they then trade and swap. And, if we're doing this to ourselves. Third thing real quick, I'm sorry, the last one for the Kelby Smith, if you are faithful and you want, like, you're Amish, you want bank accounts, but you don't have Social Security numbers, he can help you with that kind of thing. And it's hisadvocates.org. And that goes with statecitizen.org. Anyway, then the third one's keep your children in your home. Give them a real education. It's not fair that we're mad and we're upset about these children. How many of them are autistic from the vaccines, or how many of them are into sex and drugs early from the DARE program, and all this perversion of having them read pornography in co-ed classrooms and put condoms on cucumbers, and and the tranny library stuff, men humping these kids in a library and everybody just standing there watching it. This is our own fault. We need to take control of our children. If you don't have time to be able to raise your children at home, hey, come together. There's 5-6 families on a block. Get one person that's, school educating children is not difficult. A globe, a Saxon math curriculum, a Bible, even if you don't believe a Bible, 10 commandments, don't hurt other people, Johnny, you know what I mean? Teach them how to use arms, firearms. These are normal things. We're allowing them to take our children and mold them into these snowflake, brain damaged, goldfish minded. No attention span, and all they know how to do is hold on to those computers. So this is our fault, and we do have all the power there. And the last thing, boycott big business. It does not take much to get these big companies in big trouble because their overhead is so high. You nibble away 2-3% from a Walmart or these giant mega stores that's like Dick's Sporting Goods, and say, well, we're not going to carry guns. Hey, well, how about we don't do business with you? It'll put a hurting on Target. Yeah, we're going to have, co-ed bathrooms. We think that's cool. Well, we don't think it's cool. So what happened? Their stock crashes. Now, they're being supported by the George Soroses and the globalists, financiers that are holding this up. But, man, it's tenuous. So with that little program, no, you're not asking anybody else to do anything. You're just changing what you do. And remember, the Bible says, that the way is broad and narrow is, that the people want to go on the broad way, but narrow is that gate. It's one man wide. It's truth. Jesus said, I am the way, the life, and the truth. If you don't even want the Jesus part, truth, if it is true, that's what's going to save you. And the bottom line is obeying a bunch of pedophile Satanists that are caught in the act, that are robbing us blind, that are killing our children in wars, that enrich them, Joe Biden, that enrich them, Trump Heights. No, I don't like it. And I'm not going to contribute to it. So that's why I'm saying, if we just learn how to not give them the fruit of your labor, do not give them access to your children, stop giving them your retail dollar, and be grateful. Let's be grateful for what we have in this country. I'm part black, part white, part, French, German, American Indian, 4 different kinds that I know about, black, here before there was a country. In the end, I just want to be free. The Bible says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. That's my job here on this plane. And so we cannot have, well, if you don't do what he says, I'm going to die. You have to take the vaccine or I won't be safe. You have to give the tax dollars or we won't have enough food for the people, or whatever argument they're making. So I'm just saying, people, be empowered, understand that you can make big changes. People watch you and they watch the success that you'll have, living a good life, being constructive and productive, as opposed to trying to figure out, like most libs, how to get something for nothing. And unfortunately, that's just the way that it is because of the nature of what you're doing. You're actually instructing people to do that which is opposite of what God said. He said, be fruitful and multiply. They're saying, no, we need to limit how many people. We're going to kill all the babies like China. And now what are we doing? We're doing it in America. Virginia, Governor Northam, keep the babies comfortable until you carve them up and sell their organs. I mean, what have we become with no morals? So, the Constitution's only suitable to guide a moral and upright people. And we are not moral and upright anymore. And I'm just saying, we have the power to fix this, but it's going to take those of us who are in the way, walk and, preach, and if you must, use words. Just show people righteousness. I mean, all the Bible thumping in the churches that want you in there every day, giving them something, your money, your time, your effort, and the preacher's living in a $10 million house. So don't let that discourage you is what I'm saying. God is not men disrespecting God. God is what he said he was. He's the creator. We owe him respect and reverence. And in our gratitude, we serve him by being constructive and productive. And that is what will get us out of this. That's what I love about what President Trump's doing. He is trying to bring jobs back here. He is getting people motivated. I mean, I like the welfare cuts. I like all the things making people, hey, prove it if you need it. Okay, we'll help you. But you can't be on drugs. You can't be not working. At least pick up garbage on the side of the road. I walk up and down the road and pick up garbage. I'm in Ohio. I walk up and down about a mile stretch. Another lady up the street does it. Nobody's paying us. This is called respecting where you live. And so that's what I'm saying. We got to get back to that and be grateful. But I love your show. I'm going to call John. Oh, give me the number for donations because I'm going to call him and give him money because I love what that woman said. And I am so encouraged. And what's the number that you call to give John money?
The phone number for donations is 800-724-2719, extension 1 during business hours, which we're kind of out of now. So you would go to extension 3.
Okay. And I'm going to hang up and call him right now. And I thank you for your show, hon. I love you guys. Hope you're doing well.
All right. Well, thanks an awful lot.
Hey, I'm going to leave my number for you. I wanted to help you and Claire.
No, not over the air. Not over the air, please.
No,
You'll
when
get
I call
harassed.
and give money. When I call and give the money, I'll leave the phone number. Just call me when you have a minute. Okay, take
All
good
right.
care. God bless. Bye-bye.
All right, we certainly will. We're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining the network. Back to the phones to Tom in Florida. Aloha, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Aloha, Michael. Good day to you. That was a really very good call you had. The last caller was really very good. Very, very
yes.
Good. Yeah, Michael. Let's talk about Biden. He said he went and beat up a guy named Corn Pop. Now he's going to be a grandpop by Hunter. He beat up Corn Pop. Now he's a grandpa because Hunter's having a baby with some lady in Arkansas. That's been all over the news yesterday and today.
Yes.
And talking about the baby, a little boy was born. Joe, Creepy Joe, is going to have another grandkid, I guess, out of wedlock, whatever that is. I don't know. I think the woman wants $12,000 a month for the baby or something. That's what I heard on Breitbart. Some crazy number she's asking. But that last caller, that lady's absolutely right. Michael, I've been watching the news today. Chile, Bolivia, all these, Colombia, they're all in flames right now. They're rioting all over those places. And you know what? These people got to quit calling these people Latin American countries. They're not Latin American. They're Hispanic countries. Okay?
Yes.
That's got to be straightened out. That has got to be dealt with. Another thing's got to be dealt with. We don't, but the reason I really called your show is that you see the latest with this angel mother finally got this guy deported that killed her son.
Yes.
That was all over the news yesterday. Finally, after I think it was 13, 14 years, this illegal killed her son. And now they finally deported him back to Mexico, I believe it is. And Michael, did you know there's 4,800 Americans who've lost a loved one to illegal aliens in the last year?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
In a 12-month period? You had, I like to really know the figure. I mean, One American News talks about the immigration every hour on the hour, about how much it's costing. Like she said, the last caller, they're worried about $5 billion when it's costing American taxpayers $225 billion a year. For these illegals with hospitalization, they get better medical care than we'll ever get, ever.
Yes.
And they get college educations. I mean, it's Michael. I'm surprised that people ain't going to Washington with pitchforks. I really am. I'm surprised the pitchforks that came out.
We're getting close to that. We're getting close to that stage, unfortunately.
And Michael, I'm going to tell you. I told you. I guess over the last 6 months, here in South Florida, Broward County is going Hispanic like crazy. I mean, these people are not—they're not coming here to speak English if they can help it. You got 10 stations in Spanish, and you got 4 in English. Now, explain that to me. Somebody, please explain that to me. How's this happening?
Well,
Who is allowing this?
There was this story about a teacher in Texas who has lost their job because they were telling one of the Hispanic students speak English, and they lost their job for it.
You know, Michael, I got a paper just now. I was at this thing up there. I was up in North Miami about 2 hours ago, and this guy handed me a paper that says 1776. It says the Constitution is the lifeblood of the American patriots. Liberty is her child, and she is your birthright. Defend her with your last breath. For without freedom, democracy shall forever suffocate beneath the dregs of tyranny. I mean, I got this paper. The guy gave me. I'm going to make a copy of this. But this is so true. What's happening here? 90%. I talked to Michael. These kids don't even know about the Constitution, man. They get taught maybe for 3 hours, and that's it for the rest of for their curriculum for the entire school year.
Common Core has distorted the Bill of Rights and the Constitution.
I told Jeb Bush, garbage to me. He's trash. Jeb Bush, what the Bushes have done, and let me tell you, George Bush acted like he was a cowboy and all that nonsense when he was the president. He didn't do nothing about immigration. He really did. Now we finally got a guy.
I think you mean George Bush. Jeb Bush didn't win the election.
I mean George Bush. I mean the brother. Of course, George, not Jeb. Jeb was the governor of Florida. George, I'm talking about his brother George, and the father too, George Senior. They didn't do nothing about it. They're the ones that allowed this place to get flooded. And if you remember, it was the senior Bush that told his grandson, "Oh, look, there's a little brown one over there in the corner." Remember that?
Yep.
They made a big deal about that in the media for like 3 days, and that was it. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's happening to this country. And like that last caller was saying, this wall has got to be built. It's got to be secured. Matter of fact, they just drove. Matter of fact, they had. I don't know if you heard, they tunneled through part of the wall, and they made like a 15-foot section, and I guess they ran a car or a bulldozer through the wall. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
100 of them tried to sneak through, and I think it was 130 of them snuck through, and they caught them or something. The Border Patrol had enough time to catch them. That was on the news. That was Friday on the news that they actually tunneled. But and that's another thing. You know, Jerome Corsi showed a video that the military has of a collapsing wall that the military has, so you could drive a dump truck into that wall, and it will collapse on top of the truck where the truck ain't going nowhere, and it literally closes up on itself. I don't know why they're not using that as a second border, and it's a lot cheaper than the one they're trying to build. The military usually so they should have 2 barriers: the main wall that Trump wants, and then a second barrier that would be behind that wall. Now, if you run a vehicle through the one wall, you got to go through this other metal collapsing wall. I mean, it's unbelievable. But and they're worried about $5 billion. And by the way, Michael, what do you think about Ginsburg? Is she going to make it through the year or not?
It's not looking very good now. Chills and fever. Could be a flu bug. There's a nasty one that's going around here. But she is 86 years old. And no, I don't think she's going to make it. And it isn't just this year. You know, Trump is president until the start of 2021. And he can go ahead and nominate a new Supreme Court justice during that time. And the Democrats and the liberals will go ballistic, and they'll say, well, he's a lame duck president. He shouldn't be allowed to nominate a Supreme Court justice. But hey, those are the rules set forward in the Constitution.
By the way, Trump's having a rally here in Fort Lauderdale, and they had it on the news. I couldn't believe it. But they were talking on the news on one of these major channels here in South Florida that Trump's expecting 26,000 people to be inside and outside the arena at the BB&T Center. So he's going to have 26 to 28,000 people at this rally tomorrow up in Broward County, which is where they have the hockey arena. And so,
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be a lame duck. I think they better realize if this Doomberg or Misriel gets in there, I call Israel's Misriel and Bloomberg is Doomberg. If this clown runs, I think Trump's definitely going to punch the ticket until 2025. And Ginsburg, and he's going to probably get 4 or 5 justices on that court. And they're already talking about this Amy Barrett being taking Ginsburg's place. I don't know, Barrett, whatever her name is. And if she gets in there, boy, these Democrats they'll be jumping out of buildings. I'm telling you, they'll be committing suicide. You watch. It'll be like the stock market crash in 1929. You bet it's going to happen. And there's supposed to be a massive rally tomorrow, and I think he's having another one in. I think it's Vero Beach. He's going to have another one. I mean, so I don't know about the rest of the. I'm pretty sure. I know Indiana's going to go red, and I know Florida's going to Trump. I don't know about. We know Mexico.
Yeah, but all eyes are on Texas. If Texas goes blue, Trump is not going to win next year.
I totally agree with you, and there's no arguing that point with me and you, because I totally agree with you on that. And that's why I think I really think that Texas now.
Tom, I got to let you go.
Yes,
got to take a break for commercials. We got another caller waiting on the line, and we'll be right back.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What Really Happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. And we're going to go back to the phones. Mo in Florida. Aloha, Mo. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Michael, great callers, great show. You really do a great job of just bringing people together and talking about what's really going on. But that last woman, I mean, I'm not a religious person, but she had a lot of good points. But the thing I want to bring up is, this thing that really bothers me. I mean, I'm so infuriated. Sometimes I don't know. You just want to go crazy. Just like she was saying, she was so upset because, Trump just signed into law to reauthorize the Patriot Act, which allows the government to surveil and go back
Well,
on people.
he hasn't signed it yet. Okay, the House of Representatives passed it, which they're supposed to do because all revenue bills begin in the House of Representatives. The Senate still has to vote on it, and only after they pass it does it go to the White House for Trump's signature.
Oh, well, his tweet, he said he signed the bill to renew Section 702 of the what's it called, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That was his tweet. He's all for it, Mike. I mean, this is I don't know. If you look at just Google and the whole thing and where the real power is how they've got us. They're listening to everything. We're just the most powerful tool they can that George Orwell dreamed of is beyond anything. How they can just monitor everything and recall conversations that years ago. Everything we're saying right now is recorded. I mean, what kind of? Can you imagine Ron Paul doing that? Or you?
No.
So why do we expect less of him than us? Because everybody says, well, he's got to play this. He's got to play this. You know what I really think, Mike, and I'm sorry because I voted for him too because, like you, Hillary's just pure evil. But I think it's just good cop, bad cop. Trump's playing good cop, and Pelosi, and everybody, Biden, whatever else, and they're playing good cop, bad cop. And it's nothing changes. Why would you even? This is abhorrent. This is surveillance, electronic surveillance of everything we say, and every electronic thing is monitored and stored. Are you kidding me? This is George Orwell on steroids. So that's all I got to say. I mean, I don't need to know anymore, other than he's so hooked up with the Zionists. In my opinion, they got a file on Trump. He was too close to Jeffrey Epstein. I think remember when he got signed in and he came out and he looked like a different person. He was white as a ghost. Do you remember that? And everybody said his demeanor changed. I think they showed him what they had on him. I think they showed him what they had on him, Mike. And you know what? I think this is all just a dog and pony show. I'm sorry to say that because I'm like you, man. I grew up in the 50s and Johnny Tremaine, man. I was like Constitution, everything. But, I don't know. I don't know what to do. This surveillance thing is yeah, I remember you're the one who told me about the Soviets using the fax machines. I wish I had to look up. I never realized that. That's how they got their freedom. It's faxing people. Can you imagine a fax compared to what the NSA has on us now? Holy God. It's instant. Supercomputers, I think they can predict what's going to happen in the future by just the compilation of all the calls, everything. If me and you were talking about how great chocolate ice cream is, they're going to invest in chocolate ice cream factories. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it's a predictive future thing, and it's very frustrating. I don't know. It's almost alien. I know you're not an alien believer, but
well, that's not entirely accurate. I'm convinced there's intelligent civilizations out there in the galaxy. I just don't see a reason for them to waste their time visiting us.
I agree. The galaxy's huge and everything, but there's something just seems to be so surreal about this whole thing. How the general population is so dumbed down, but yet there it is. He is, how would you? Can you? I mean, you're authorizing the surveillance, the unwarranted surveillance of every human being really on Earth. And that's power and that's control. And that's sad and that's scary. So I guess I'll throw my phone away and go live in a tent, right?
Either that or just type a lot of garbage into your phone. I mean, nonsensical things. My goldfish are into Kiki sex or something. And,
Yeah, I've
just
actually done things like
poison
that.
the data
I don't
well.
know if it makes any difference. I'm about your age, and I'm getting to the point where, just worry about the grandkids, and it's kind of it's one of these, it's like seeing a train wreck, and you're just trying to do something about it, But I guess maybe I'm like you. I have eternal hope. Hope springs eternal, and hopefully that good people like you and a lot of your listeners, can do something.
Mo, I got to let you go. We got to take a break for commercials, and we'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Many people tell us about their experience with Extendivite. Just listen to what Glenn has to say.
Prior to taking it, I had diabetic neuropathy. The Extendivite reduced that significantly. Acid reflux was reduced. I had athlete's foot, very severe. Trimmed that down to about 75%. Dandruff, almost completely gone. I had occipital neuralgia at the base of my skull. I was having migraines, reduced by about 90%. Heart palpitations, my heart would kind of stall out. I would skip a beat, very uncomfortable. And when walking from downstairs going to sleep, by the time I got to the bedroom, which is just one flight of stairs, my heart was pounding, coming out of my chest. My vision was blurry. This completely solved that problem. Great product. Thanks.
Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show here and getting on back to some of the news. There's a group called the Eurasia Group Foundation, and it commissioned a national survey to investigate the foreign policy preferences of American voters, and perhaps to nobody's surprise, most of the American public views America's foreign policy in a very negative light. And Americans favor a less aggressive foreign policy. They want the United States to go back to being a moral leader rather than a military power. All right, we're going to go back to the phones here to Jim in Portland. Aloha, Jim. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Can I put forth a guest request?
What's that?
Can I request a guest?
Yes.
A few years ago, you had a hydrogen expert on named Mike Strizky from New Jersey. And
Yes.
there's been a lot of developments. There's been a lot of developments in the hydrogen industry since then. And I think your listeners would be interested in hearing what's been going on.
All right, well, I'll see if I can track him back down again and get him on the show. Right now, in terms of energy, first of all, the petroleum industry's got pretty much a lock on the entire political system. But more to the point, you know, everyone's talking about electric cars and how great they're going to be, and I think they are definitely the wave of the future. In fact, I was watching an episode of Grand Tour over on Amazon Prime, and they had an electric supercar that they ran around the track, and it came in second after the McLaren. So the technology is definitely there. The part that is missing is a clean, environmentally friendly way to generate that electricity with which to charge those batteries. That's the part that is still missing. And by the way, as long as I'm on the topic here, I don't know what's with Amazon Prime. We have an Amazon Prime account because Claire has bought some things from Amazon, and you get the Prime account for free. But the quality of the video is just horrible. And I went online and I did a search. And apparently back last year, Amazon Prime did something where, the top end movies are getting all the bandwidth and everything else is just, it's freezing up. It's getting blurry. It's really terrible. And if I were voluntarily going to look at Amazon Prime, I'd say, no, I'm not going to bother with this.
Yeah, just a couple more things on fuel cells. Australia published a national hydrogen strategy. And when you talk about America finding a tech and going with it, it's going to be too late if we don't get on this fuel cell bandwagon. China is building hydrogen cities. They are building hydrogen corridors to connect these cities. Today, more fuel cells were mass-produced in China than anywhere else in the world. In a few years, they will own this tech.
Well, we're falling behind China in a lot of different technological areas. I mean, they're pulling ahead of us in space exploration. And again, getting on back to Grand Tour, they were basically showing Chinese cars. And apparently 30 years ago, China did not have what we would call a highway system. Now they've got something like 64,000 miles of highways. They're adding 6,000 miles every year. They have more highways than any other country on earth, and they're building the cars to go with them. And
even that impressed Jeremy Clarkson. I saw that episode. Yeah. But this is clean tech. This is roadways are great, but China is prioritizing hydrogen technology. The father of battery cars in that country, his name is Wan Gang, has come out and called for China to pivot to hydrogen fuel cells. So we're not hearing about this in North American media, but Australia and China and Japan and Korea is also building hydrogen cities. If your listeners go and search hydrogen energy, I think they'll be amazed at what they find because we're just not hearing about it, and for whatever reason. But this is the clean.
Well, I think the reason is obvious. We're falling behind, and the corporate media doesn't want you aware that China is actually pulling ahead of it, and other countries are pulling ahead of us in this technology.
There is one crown jewel here in Arizona, there's a truck company called Nikola Motor, and no, I don't work for them. I just thought you'd be interested. They're building a hydrogen truck, and they have said that they are going to build 700 solar-powered hydrogen stations across the United States. And a week or two or three of war spending at $200 million a day, the federal government could have done that and called it national security. But the federal government is too busy trying to figure out where to invade next, so it's left to a private company like Nikola Motor. But I think if you go to their website, you'll be impressed. That's one sliver of activity in North America, and all the rest of the hydrogen fuel cell technologies been going to be taken over by Asia. So I think you'll find this. I think you'll find it interesting if you. And Mike Strisky's got his thumb on the whole industry, and hydrogenhouseproject.org is his website. His contact information is there, and every once in a while I replay that excellent interview that you did with him before, and I think that many things have happened in the industry since then, and I think if you get him back on, you'll be amazed.
Well, I'll make a point of looking into it.
Thank you.
All right, and we're going to switch over to Sebastian in Sweden. Aloha, Sebastian. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hello, Mike. Listen, I don't know. You got some really good callers today. It's been really great listening to all of them. You know, the guy Mo from Florida, one of the last ones, she was pretty good, and I like Tom as well, and all your people that call in. But I wonder if you touched on. I came in pretty late, so I wonder if you touched on the Iraqi defense minister, the scandal that he was living under another name and collecting welfare from Sweden. And the guy, his name is Naha el-Shamari.
Yeah.
He's the defense minister of Iraq, and he was collecting welfare from Sweden under another name. He had immigrated years ago and was kept, taking the checks. So now right here in Sweden, it's the biggest scandal. So now on Thursday, I think they have the equivalent to like a Senate hearing in the States.
Yes.
So they're going to try to get to the bottom of the whole thing. But otherwise, it's been a pretty calm weekend. Only one bombing on a flower shop for some reason. I don't know why, but a few rapes. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet because of the weather. It's been around zero.
Yeah.
Here, and when the weather's cold, I don't think people go out and do nefarious acts of violence, perhaps. But that's all I wanted to say. And another thing, I got lots of information from the guy working in the control room about. I was just worried about how many states in America, maybe that require a photo ID, because I'm sure something went wrong in Virginia, because I don't know. I think Trump's going to have a problem. He's going to have a big problem in the election, because this requirements for photo ID or whatever. It's I think it's going to fall. I think the Democrats are going to win because of that.
Yeah, I agree. And Trump had 3 years to try and deal with this, and he failed on that part. In the United States, you need a photo ID to drive a car, buy alcohol, buy tobacco. Only in the area of voting is having a photo ID considered an invasion of your privacy. And I think the Border Patrol intercepted something like, a couple of 100,000 fake driver's licenses coming across the border.
You mean false?
Yeah. They were counterfeit.
Like here, you have to photo ID to vote in the county or the state or the national elections. Everyone has to have it, even foreigners. Foreigners that have been here 3 years are allowed to vote in the county and state, but not the national. You have to have a Swedish citizen. And
yes.
and your name is checked off, and at 8 o'clock at night, you can go back to the poll and you can watch them count the ballots. As that's part of the right here. You can watch them when they count the ballots, and we have paper ballots. So I'm so happy about
that's
that.
definitely a much better system than we have here in the United States. I mean, our election
It's not
system
the
in this
best.
country is a complete joke.
I think Denmark has the best. They're number one. I think we are number 4 or 5 on the list of the best, voting countries in the world. Okay, well, thank you very much, Mike.
All right, well, thank you very much for the phone call here. Getting on back to the news here and following up on that foreign policy poll over at Information Clearinghouse, they're talking about eroding exceptionalism, America in decline. And I think anybody walking around the streets is going to be able to see that. And exceptionalism was this buzzword that was used by the government to say it's okay for us to miss in other people's countries because we know what's best for them. And more people are saying that, no, it doesn't work that way. And it's time for the United States to basically comport itself according to international rules of diplomacy and stop going around blowing things up and saying, well, we're exceptional. We're allowed to blow things up here. All right, economic news here. Apparently, we're starting to see indications of consumer discretionary and corporate bonds on the verge of a major sell-off. And looking at the charts, it's not good. And we're seeing the stock market keep driven up and up and up, but the fundamentals underlying the economy are continuing to decline. So at some point, there's going to be a major correction here. Another article, this one is from Investment Watch blog. Capitalism did not create the wealth income inequality that we have today. Socialism will not solve the wealth income inequality that we have today. This is all from the creation of the Federal Reserve, central banking, and fiat currencies, and they are absolutely correct on that. Prior to the creation of private central banking, which goes back about 300 years now, we didn't see countries that were being driven into poverty like this. People are starting to ask, do you think it's possible that the Fed or other central banks will be able to stop quantitative easing at some point during this recovery? And I think the answer is no. They've painted themselves into an economic corner, and they're just going to have to go on cranking out the phony money to keep the banks solvent here. Over in China, China ended subsidies for lithium prices, and that, of course, has driven up the electric cars to huge costs. Without the government subsidy, you don't get them. The same thing happened in the U.S. state of Georgia that saw electric vehicle sales collapse from 17% to 2% after the subsidies were cut off. Now, the subsidy problem is compounded by the inequality of benefit. The only group that benefits from EV subsidies is the rich. Okay, and apparently the reason that Donald Trump was sort of semi-joking about Greenland, about buying it outright, is apparently Greenland is now recognized as a major source of rare earth minerals that U.S. corporations desire. Down in Lebanon, the banks reopened this last week, but unfortunately, the ATMs are literally spitting back bank cards. Dollars have virtually disappeared. It's a bad sign. Okay, new poll. Majority of Americans want to increase the deportation of illegal immigrants. That would be a really good idea. Okay, over at Syracuse University in New York, there was a series of racial incidents that stoked pandemonium on the campus. The liberals were all triggered. How dare you? How dare you? It turned out to be a hate crime hoax perpetrated by a social justice activist. They have to use frauds and lies. There really isn't this amount of hate volume going on. It's all a fake. Facebook has now banned all content on vaccine awareness, including facts about vaccine ingredients. They don't want you to know what's in there. They don't want you to know about the aluminum. They don't want you to know about the mercury. They don't want you to know about any of that stuff. Just go on and get your shot. And now, in their desire for increased profits, the pharmaceutical companies are saying, well, maybe you should have 2 flu jabs this winter because apparently flu virus this year wears off faster than we thought was going to happen. This is all about doubling the money here. Over in Iran, the internet is back up. News is finally starting to get on out, but the international media is still downplaying the scale of it all. I want you to know what's going on over there in Iran. Okay, and coming up here on our last commercial break on the show today, apparently over in New York, a judge ordered gun confiscation a month before the red flag law legally took effect. And there was a video that we had on whatreallyhappened.com about this legal gun owner who registered all of his guns only to have the police show up and confiscate them all. All right, we're going to take a break for commercials. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or to speak with a trained consultant. Give Angioprim a call at 954-882-7221. That's 954-882-7221.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield Tactical Bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Welcome to What Really Happened Radio. Visit us online at whatreallyhappened.com. And now, set your eyes on the future and let's consider what really happened.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Last segment of our program today. Do you remember Sarah Sanders? She was President Trump's White House secretary. She left the job in June. And there have been rumors swirling around that she might run for office in Arkansas, likely for the governorship, which had previously been held by her father. And apparently, Sanders all but confirmed her run to the New York Times yesterday, saying that she felt she was called to run for office. And she said there are two types of people who run for office: people that are called and people that just want to be senator or governor. I feel I have been called. Scary here. Okay. Toshiba Corporation has developed technology that will, according to them, detect 13 types of cancer from a single drop of blood with a 99% accuracy. And apparently Toshiba developed the diagnosis method together with the National Cancer Center Research Institute and Tokyo Medical University, and hopes to commercialize it in several years after starting a trial next year. And the method could be used to detect and thereby treat cancer in the early stage. Well, apparently what it does is it looks for the concentration of microRNA molecules in the blood from cancer cells. And Toray Industries Incorporated and other companies have also developed technologies to diagnose cancer using microRNA molecules from a blood sample. Now, the microRNA molecules are secreted by cancer cells. So it's a good approach if they get it working. Okay, getting on back to the economic news here, as if we didn't have enough to worry about. Apparently, there are enormous amounts of U.S. corporate bonds that are coming mature in the next few years. And are they going to be able to pay it? I don't know. It's kind of an iffy situation here. Okay. Apparently, the entire .org domain registry has now been sold to an investment equity firm, Ethos Capital. Registration fee restrictions have been removed. It's the privatization of the internet. And Ethos Capital acquired Public Interest Registry from the Internet Society. So basically, Ethos Capital will acquire PIR and all of its assets from the Internet Society. Transaction is expected to close during the first quarter of next year. Oh, we're good. We've got a quick phone call here. Al in Canada, aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Can you hear me?
Mike, you're on the air.
Thanks. The music's starting.
Yeah.
It's over.
Got to go fast.
Okay, so it was just most people don't die of cancer. They die because of the treatment.
Yeah, I know. I had that suspicion about my mother's passing. All right, I got to let you go. The music is playing.
Thanks,
the show
Mike.
is over. Stay tuned for John Stadmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. And we'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.